in the chat, are you familiar with Flock? And I'm gonna put it in the chat too, just so you can see what I mean. Are you familiar with this? Flock. Are you familiar with these and what it is? If not, it's okay. You're gonna learn in a few minutes. Have no fear. Have you heard of these? Is it a drug? No, it's not a drug. Okay, so we got some people who know about it. Okay, cool. All right. And actually, we've heard they've mentioned a couple of times. I've heard them mention them on our body cams. Okay, so people know about these Flock cameras. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this video in. I don't know what the name of this is. It's called Reason TV. I like this lady because she really does a great job of explaining things. So she's gonna explain what Flock cameras are. And then we're going to watch a video that kind of breaks down some of the problems that people are having. And this young lady breaks them down too. Shout out to her for sure. All right, let's get popping and locking. Can I make this bigger? Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
Have Americans finally had it with this mass surveillance system? That is a Flock safety camera. It's an artificial intelligence automated license plate reader. I've reported on Flock before, and if there's one thing people in the comments can agree on, it's their hatred of this. That's because at least 90,000 Flock cameras across 6,000 communities read over 20 billion plates per month. All that information then gets uploaded into a giant shared database, which can be accessed by law enforcement and government agencies. And no surprise, this raises a slew of issues. Like one Ohio man pulled over accused of stolen plates, attacked by police dogs, and jailed because Flock read the 7 on his plates as a 2. Or the Colorado woman accused of stealing a package and treated as guilty until proven innocent because Flock caught her driving 20 times in 1 month. Then there's the Arkansas couple that had a Flock camera pointed right at their house, putting them and their guests under constant warrantless surveillance. And not to perpetuate stereotypes, but multiple cops and police chiefs have accessed Flock hundreds of times to stalk their exes and current partners. But don't worry, you can stalk people too, because Flock cameras are hackable in under 30 seconds. They can be turned into a personal spy device, run on an Android operating system discontinued in 2021, and didn't even have two-factor authentication until it recently came out that they didn't. YouTuber Ben Jordan even found 51 vulnerabilities with Flock and said accessing them is so easy, 12-year-olds could do it. We don't condone the destruction of Flock cameras, but we're also not surprised the public has reached their boiling point. One Virginia man now faces 19 felonies and 6 misdemeanors for destroying 13 cameras over 6 months. In Michigan, police used Flock to catch this guy who caused about 10 grand in damage to cameras. And Oregon vandals / patriots, depending who you ask, cut down 9 Flock cameras, leaving some with colorfully worded stickers. Flock cameras in California, Connecticut, and Illinois have also been destroyed. So, did Americans take notes from Britain's Blade Runners? Have Americans finally had it with this mass surveillance system?
Okay, so is a Flock cameras. I've heard about them. I kind of thought they were good, but we're gonna go jump in and tap in with Atozy, excellent content creator. Link is down in the description. I didn't know some of these things, and I'm kind of conflicted because again, they solve crimes, they help solve crimes, but on the same note, they're gathering data. And a lot of data. So we're gonna look at this video, and I think I'm fine with us not doing it, but man, I think we could. I don't know. I feel like maybe it needs a little bit more time to cook, a little bit more time to work through some of the nuances and stuff like that, rather than just what we're gonna be watching. But let me know what y'all think for sure. Jump in here. Break it down for sure. Give me a 2 cent, all that kind of good jazz. With no further ado, ladies and gentlemen, green hearts in the chat when you can hear. Shout out to Atozy. Badozy. What are we doing, Jason? Get it together. Come on. Let's go.
This might be one of the wilder trends of the year because thousands of people on TikTok and Instagram have now become
Flock camera license plate readers to fight crime.
What happened?
This might be one of the wilder trends of the year because thousands of people on TikTok and Instagram have now become obsessed with taking down AI-powered police cameras. Some are climbing ladders, others are throwing cheese on solar panels, and you have entire accounts just dedicated to tracking where these cameras are currently located. So now you have a whole trend where people are documenting these cameras, mocking them, and celebrating every time one stopped working. So what exactly is Flock safety, and why has a surveillance company become the internet's newest villain?
Flock identifies itself as a public safety technology company that uses connected cameras to help communities across the country respond to and investigate safety incidents. Critics argue the company is a massive surveillance operation and worry personal data is at risk.
Yeah, so unless you're really into like local government meetings or police technology, there's a good chance you've never heard of Flock Safety until all these videos started popping up recently. And that's kind of crazy considering just how widespread they've become. Flock Safety, in short, is a Georgia-based company that builds automated license plate reader systems used by thousands of law enforcement agencies across the United States currently. They'll probably expand, though. But according to the company, its technology is used by more than 5,000 agencies across more than 6,000 communities, helping investigators with over 1 million investigations in 2025 alone. So I guess the idea here is instead of waiting for an officer to spot a suspicious vehicle, you place cameras around the city that quietly watch traffic 24 hours a day. So every time the vehicle passes one, the system captions a still image and records things like the license plate and the make and model, the color, the body style, the date, the time, and the direction the vehicle is traveling. That's currently though, but it also seems like they're also adding features to detect devices that are in the vehicle as well, like phones or Bluetooth devices. That could, for example, give them the ability to not only track who owns the vehicle and where the vehicle is going, but who's currently sitting inside the vehicle, because each phone has its own ID. So in theory, you could then track a whole lot more people, including people on the bus or people who are passengers in certain vehicles. Regardless, this is essentially automated eyes sitting on poles, constantly logging what passes in front of them. And that said, these things are also fairly advanced technology-wise because many models actually use infrared illumination, so they can capture clear images day and night. And in many cases, they can actually see through people's masks. So that's one reason they're so effective, and also one reason why people who are currently wearing masks to destroy these need to be a little careful, because infrared isn't really mask friendly because it can still detect the shape of your face. And it's safe to say police departments absolutely love them. The Abilene Police Department in Texas says Flock cameras have helped investigate homicides, recover stolen vehicles, solve hit and run cases, and even track homicide suspects across multiple cities.
Police department has confirmed it is using 13 Flock camera license plate readers to fight crime around the key city. APD did not disclose to KRBC the location of these cameras, but did say all 13 are located along major roads.
So I guess if bank robbery suspects drive through town, investigators can actually see where the vehicle entered, where it exited, and potentially where it went next. So I guess instead of relying entirely on eyewitnesses, they suddenly have a digital breadcrumb trail. But really, this is only the tip of the iceberg because these cameras aren't just taking pictures. See, every time your car passes one, information gets added to a searchable database. Not just your license plate, but your vehicle make, model, color, body style, and so on and so on and so on. So Flock is very clear about a few things. The company says the data belongs to the agency that collected it. Searches are, logged and audible, and by default, the information is automatically deleted after 30 days. And the company also repeatedly says that it does not use facial recognition technology. But critics argue that you don't really need facial recognition to build a surprisingly detailed picture on someone's life. Think about it. If a camera sees the same car outside of the same house every night, then outside of the same school or outside of the same church regularly, they can build kind of like a very good map of where this person goes and exists and what kind of life they live. And I don't know about you, but I feel like most people believe that this is the kind of data we should consent to. And it seems like most people agree with that. So you have groups like the ACLU and the Electronic Frontier Foundation. They've argued that that's where the real privacy concern actually starts. Not because the cameras identify faces, but because they can document movement patterns over time. And that debate has only gotten louder and louder as Flock's network has grown. So you have thousands of agencies now using these systems across thousands of communities. And some departments also participate in something called a national lookup, allowing agencies to...
So, and actually we've heard them mention Flock. I remember a body cam when Natalie was on here. They mentioned, yeah, we looked it up in Flock. And it just kind of went over my head. I wasn't paying attention to it, but I remember it now when I saw this, I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, this is kind of wild. I don't know how I feel. I really don't. I'm conflicted. But I am going to give him a like. Make sure you do the same. Hit the like button. Let's go.
Search data collected by other departments. And again, police obviously see value in that. If someone steals a car in one state and drives hundreds of miles away, investigators don't have to hope, another officer spots it. Cameras along the route may have already documented where it traveled. But if all these cameras are quietly collecting information every day, how much tracking is too much tracking? Because there's a lot of stories popping up now that are becoming a real issue. And I'm going to get into a few of those later on in this video. But one of the stranger stories making the rounds involve a man who reportedly filed a public records request for flock data tied to his own license plate, only to have the request denied over privacy concerns. Excuse me, what? He's trying to get his own information, but he's being blocked due to privacy concerns? So the government can collect data on your movements, but when you ask to see information about your own vehicle, you're told releasing it would violate privacy. What? So no doubt, this is starting to get a little weird. And the debate has started changing laws. So Washington State passed legislation restricting where automatic license plate reader cameras can operate, limiting collection near places like schools, places of worship, healthcare facilities, food banks, and immigration-related sites. Other cities have reconsidered or ended their contracts with Flock after concerns over safety. So for one group of people, I guess, these cameras represent safer communities. But for the overwhelming majority, they represent one of the largest surveillance networks most people never realized already existed. And then, I guess you have the internet.
Yo, chat, 5K likes, I'm going to start taking flock cameras down. All right, I'm not going to lie, I couldn't restrain myself. I low-key just gorilla shook this motherfucker and it broke. You, Peter Thiel. You.
And instead of, I guess, writing angry opinion pieces, people started posting TikToks. And not before long, flock cameras weren't just controversial, they became content.
Hey, Peter, we're coming for you. We, the people of the United States of America, are not going to stand for that police state. The good news is we can do something about it.
If you scroll through TikTok or Instagram Reels or Twitter, it won't take you too long before you find videos of people celebrating another flock camera going offline. Some people cheer because, they drove past an empty pole, and others post maps showing where all the cameras are located. And then, of course, one of the stranger trends I've seen come out of this is people throwing slices of cheese onto the camera's solar panels, which I guess temporarily blocks them from charging. And obviously, not everyone online is just joking. I do want to say that a lot of people protesting flock cameras aren't doing it for the trend online either, but they're literally just trying to get this kind of surveillance removed. And it makes sense because this is one of the craziest overreaches we've seen in a while.
Historically, I stay out of the city and the city stays out of my business. It was a pretty decent arrangement. But then y'all sent me one of these tickets from one of your AI red light cameras you have deemed as necessary infrastructure in your city. The thing about this is I was in Seminole, Alabama at the time I allegedly ran this red light downtown because the enforcement action of 316.0083 unduly shifts the burden of proof to the vehicle owner, me, to prove my innocence rather than the state having to prove my guilt. Currently, I'm guilty by default. I've been convicted by a computer program. So not only does this process flow through a private company, our DMV records and personal registration information are accessible by a foreign actor.
But regardless, police around the country are investigating multiple incidents involving damaged or destroyed flock cameras. One recent example came out of Indiana, where a flock camera along Interstate 69 was found lying on the ground, and Indiana State Police confirmed it belongs to the agency and opened an investigation. There was also a dude in Virginia, I think, who got arrested for, a guy in Virginia arrested. Yeah, it was a dude in Virginia who also destroyed a whole bunch of flock cameras and got arrested. What I guess was kind of amusing about the Indiana one is officials, they couldn't confirm if it just fell or if it was vandalized, but they are currently looking for whoever did it. Essentially, people across the internet are putting out hits on these AI cameras.
Peter Thiel! Peter Thiel! Wow.
Who's
the
Peter
flock
Thiel?
camera? Peter Thiel! I see you, Peter Thiel!
What?
We have a message.
And also in North Carolina, damaged flock cameras started a debate over whether the technology's crime-fighting benefits outweighed the privacy concerns. And then there's a bunch of videos that go much further, like posting guides explaining different ways to either take down the flock cameras or disable them or just outright destroy them. Now, to be absolutely clear, this channel does not condone that whatsoever. Doing stuff like this has some serious criminal risk. You don't want to mess up your life because you hate an AI camera, but I don't think too many people have too much sympathy for them. It's kind of like the same thing of hearing about oh no, someone destroyed a speed camera. What will I ever do? Regardless, don't do anything that can wreck your life. And there's also the reality of damaging a few cameras doesn't suddenly make the network disappear, because from what I can tell, every time you destroy one, Flock gets paid to replace it. So we are really just kind of stuck in this weird purgatory for something that I don't think anyone voted for. It's just another thing to add to the long list of that we've experienced over the last few years, because there's no clear win here. Like, either your every movement is tracked and your tax money goes to replace the broken cameras, so your every movement can be still tracked. Fun. But I mean, the amount of hate these things is starting to get is making the criticism harder for the company to ignore. Because some of the biggest controversies weren't about strangers damaging the cameras at all. They were about people who were authorized to use them. Because no matter how secure a system is, it's still operated by human beings. So in Georgia, a police officer by the name of Paige Fort was charged after investigators alleged that she searched Flock's database for personal reasons. So according to Georgia's Bureau of Investigation, she conducted more than 30 unauthorized searches, including searches involving her former boyfriend and people connected with him. Well, that's not good. We sure have opened quite the fascinating can of worms here with this system. And she was eventually charged with computer invasion of privacy. And now, that's obviously not Flock deciding to stalk someone's ex. That's an officer allegedly abusing the access that she's been trusted with. But critics argued that's exactly the point. When you build an incredibly powerful database, you also create the possibility that someone with access could misuse this database. And, you know, it's the same concern people have with medical records or any database containing sensitive information. The technology isn't always the problem. The person behind the keyboard might be. And that was definitely not.
I agree with that. But like with medical data, I mean, there's a reason why they're collecting it. Educational data, there's a reason why they're collecting it. Like, you're just collecting people's tag numbers. And again, like I can see the benefit of it, but I totally see the downside. So I don't know what to do with that. Look, fog machine. What are we doing to fog machine? We watch YouTube. What are we doing to fog machine? Why do we need a fog machine? Oh, putting trash bags on the machine, on the cameras? I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, how would you feel if you were against Flock and truly a crime was committed that could have been solved had there been a Flock camera in the area? Or maybe, again, I don't know. I'm conflicted about this. I really am.
Not an isolated thing. There are tons of situations like this, and this isn't even only a recent thing, because even years ago, investigative reporting found that officers in multiple states had used automated license plate reader systems to look up people for reasons unrelated to active investigations. I'm pretty sure there was also a case where some cop, I guess, thought a woman was attractive, so he looked her up so he could pull her over. Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Let me fact check myself real quick here because I saw it on a headline. I want to make sure this is real. A Florida deputy used an automated license plate readers to track and pull over a woman he met while working a security detail on a TV set. This is real and very recent. This happened this month. I'm recording this on the 29th of July. But I guess that's exactly why departments now require searches to be tied to a case number and maintain audit logs showing who searched what and when. Flock itself says every search is recorded and auditable, making it easier to see when someone is using it for the wrong reasons. But also, I have a feeling that can be bypassed, but what do I know? But I guess that's better than having no oversight. But, you know, as we've seen in plenty of other industries, having rules isn't the same thing as everyone actually following them. Then you have cases where nobody necessarily abuses the system and things still go wrong, like Joel Fetter. Fetter was driving through Colorado when he suddenly found himself pulled over at gunpoint. Police believe the vehicle he was driving had been reported stolen, except it wasn't. According to the reporting on the incident, the problem started when the vehicle was entered into the National Crime Information Center database using only a partial license plate instead of his full license plate number. So Flock's system searched using information that had been given and generated a possible match, and officers acted on that alert. So the result was an innocent man being detained because a chain of human errors snowballed into a terrifying traffic stop. And I don't know if this makes it better or not, but Flock said its system had functioned as configured and apologized for what Fetter experienced. And the company also acknowledged that figuring out the exact matches from partial matches was fair feedback. Feedback? The guy had a firearm pointed at him. What are you talking about? Oh, thank you for the feedback. That could have gone so bad. And essentially the company's response was just like, well, we'll work with this constructive criticism here. Excuse me, what? Also, another issue is that most people don't actually understand how the system works. Take Oshkosh, Wisconsin. During public talks on whether the city should purchase Flock cameras or not, company representatives reportedly told officials that one feature, known as heat maps, wasn't possible. But then later, police showed that they could generate maps showing where vehicles had traveled based on camera detections. So is this being misleading on purpose? What's going on here? Was it all just like a misunderstanding or different features being discussed? I don't get what's going on. Or I guess did city officials simply not get the full picture before making a decision? But I guess even when the company says it has safeguards, if the public doesn't understand how those rules work or thinks the rules don't make sense, trust really starts disappearing. And once people lose trust in surveillance technology, it becomes a lot harder to convince them that the cameras are only going to be used for the reasons they were promised to be used. If this statistic is true, we have a massive problem. But apparently the CEO of Flock, he ended up talking about the people who had a problem with Flock.
You've got organizations like the ACLU and the EFF who take an above-board approach to fight for their point of view. And thankfully, we live in a beautifully democratic, capitalistic country where we can fight in court. And I have a lot of respect for those groups because they have reasonable debates and we follow the law. And then unfortunately, there's terroristic organizations like DFlock, whose primary motivation is chaos. They are closer to Antifa than they are anything else. And that, I think, is unfortunate because we don't want chaos, or I don't want chaos. I like law and order. I like a society that has a bedrock of safety. So for those groups, I think it's just disappointing that they haven't chosen a more constructive mannerism to try to get what they want, which they have a right to have. But that's why we have a democratically elected process, right? Like we're not forcing Flock on anyone. Elected officials know that as a community, you want to be safe.
That's not very reassuring. And also, that's just flat out wrong. DFlock is an open source project that simply maps out license plate readers. Like if you're going to litter our communities with license plate readers, we should at the bare minimum have the right to know where they are. Also, if you actually care about bedrock of safety, you should care about how your Flock cameras are installed, because currently there's a bunch of them that are just installed in a way which could kill people. How do I know this? Well, meet Steve Imers, who goes by the guardrail guy. His daughter Hannah tragically lost her life due to an incorrectly installed guardrail. So he has dedicated his account to pointing out incorrectly installed guardrails, posts, and other things alongside of our roadways, so whoever installed them can come and do it correctly and actually save some lives. And he's recently noticed a trend of these license plate readers being incorrectly installed.
Listen, don't try to co-opt anti-Flock guys. Don't try to co-opt me. I'm handing you a gift or shut up. All right, let's get down to this. This is not crash course. I have the design drawings, what was approved by Tennessee DOT in 2023. It was crash tested at Texas A&M, tests 360, 361, 362 of the MASH testing standards, and it has a slip plate that's embedded into concrete. It's a fixed sphere. Do you see any kind of stickers? Nothing. There's some Flock stickers, but no stickers showing that this was inspected. Let's come back here. We have a Tennessee DOT sign. They're both on the right of way. That one's actually closer to the roadway. This one's much further away. And take a look. You have the lower stub. You have the upper part. You have the inspections. Unlawful to remove. So there's oversight. It's properly installed. And over here, we have a device that ended up on our roadside. Folks, I got the emails. That was approved through engineering. This was approved by an unlicensed administrator. So it's good enough. Folks, that is not the way we do this. It's a privilege to be in the clear zone. We cannot just say, let some unlicensed bureaucrat say, well, just go ahead, do what you want. Dadgummit, whatever will be, and don't hit the post.
Clearly, safety isn't their number one priority. And by the way, Flock isn't the only company making this kind of technology. Motorola Solutions also has their own automated license plate reader system after buying Vigilant Solutions. And the Guardrail guys also made videos on them mounting their stuff incorrectly as well. And then you have another company called Axon, and that company is probably best known for its tasers and police body cameras that you see on the United States police officers. And they're also building connected camera networks through Fusus and Axim. So Flock just happens to be the company that everyone knows. So that's important because even if Flock disappears tomorrow, these cameras wouldn't. It seems like Axon and Motorola will happily fill the gap. Police departments can still buy similar systems from other companies. So essentially, the real question is, should Flock exist? It's kind of like, how much surveillance are we comfortable with? Because, China's been criticized for many years for this exact type of surveillance, but now it seems like we have it. And judging by the number of city council meetings, lawsuits, public record fights, and just viral videos, we're still trying to figure all this out. And the backlash has gotten big enough that some cities have actually started walking away from Flock altogether. But from what I can tell, they aren't actually walking away from all of Flock's competition yet. I think people are just vocal enough about Flock to make them walk away from Flock currently. For example, Los Angeles, they voted to actually end their contract, while other communities have paused or reconsidered the technology after public pressure. And as criticism has grown, Flock CEO Garrett Langley has spent more time publicly defending the company and arguing that the technology is being misunderstood rather than abused. Well, I mean, we've already confirmed that it has been abused.
Flock CEO Garrett Langley spoke to us about the LAPD cancellation and holds out hope the two will soon work together again.
We got to tighten up the policy, make sure everyone's aligned, and then turn it back on.
While Flock is not working with LAPD right now, the company still has dozens of cameras throughout LA County and tens of thousands across the country.
So that's Flock Safety, a company that says that it's helping to solve crimes and absolutely not being abused whatsoever. Critics are saying, hey, this is building a massive surveillance network, and now the internet has somehow decided the best response is to throw cheese at the solar panels on them. I'm being a little hyperbolic here. But I mean, one thing is for sure, this conversation is not going away anytime soon, because on one side, it is absolutely giving away our privacy. And on the other side, it is absolutely making it easier to track down criminals. But to quote Benjamin Franklin, those who would give up the essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. So, hey, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.
Heartbeat. Just 1 second. All right. Okay, what y'all think about that? Y'all comment in there below. Let me know what y'all thought about it. I'm still conflicted about these cameras, but I know y'all on my bumper about these cameras, so we're gonna get rid of these cameras, y'all. Y'all do not want these cameras. I'm not gonna fight with you. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.